Welcome to the Underdog Pick'em Show on the LineStar YouTube channel. Alongside my co-host Tyler Wiemann, I am Shannon Sommerville, and we've got your top 5 underdog picks for this week in the NFL. A great slate of games, and we are picking 5 from the Sunday game, so plenty of time to go out there on Underdog and punch in these picks for you guys. If you don't have Underdog yet, make sure to download it. Use the promo code LineStar when you do, so you can get a nice deposit match. Plus, you can also get 1 free month of the LineStar app. That's exactly what we're using to help us make the best picks on Underdog. It in fact has a specific tab on the app on the PropsAI tool specifically for Underdog, so you can find the best value, basically comparing LineStar's projections to what's out there in Underdog. So go check it out when you get a second, linestarapp.com. And before we get into our picks, do us a huge favor, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below. It helps us out in the algorithm department, but we also try to reward our viewers by giving them some of our winnings. So if Tyler and I's picks go 2-0 this week, one randomly selected commenter will win $50. Now, if we get all 5 picks right, one randomly selected commenter will up that prize money to $100. What do you think about that, Tyler? Got to be in it to win it. So like, subscribe, and comment below, and you're in it. We also just want to hear from you guys in terms of your locks for week 5. We're all trying to help each other out and beat the books, so it's great to have as many opinions as possible in the comments. So keep them coming here on the LineStar YouTube channel. Tyler, week 5, I am fired up for this one. Last week, a lot of disappointing. I feel like we got burned a lot by some just like, we had Amari Cooper on over, and he just decided not to play football last week. He had this terrible.
He's so frustrating.
Like, it was just a frustrating performance, and then some other ones just got a little bit unlucky. So we're hoping our luck turns around this week. Let's get fired up as Tyler is after hearing that Joe Davis announced as the Padres-Dodgers series.
Oh, you would go right there.
I feel your pain, though, because Joe Davis, of course, is the Dodgers play-by-play announcer, and he got called to the national stage for this NLDS series. And I can feel the pain of all Padres fans, because I think it was not too long ago that I was in the same predicament with my New York Knicks. So it's never fun to have the opposing team's guys, you know? It's just like, I
just don't understand why they do it on national TV. It's like, there's still going to be a Dodger broadcast. Leave them over there.
That is true. So regardless, though, we are ready to roll in. So this is the best time of year because we've got baseball, but we've also got some great NFL games that are sure to keep us entertained. But why not add a little more extra juice to it and enter an Underdog Fantasy entry to make it more exciting for yourself on this slate of games? Of course, I'm staying away from my Jets. Don't even think about it. We're not going near that Jets-Vikings-London game, Tyler. I feel like, I'm not going to do the show in a London accent for everyone's sake. I think I thought about it. Not going to do it. But, you know, is there another London game or Germany game in our forecast where I can perfect my accents for?
Yeah. I mean, we usually have a couple right next to each other, right?
I know. So who knows what's in store for you guys as we head down. But no London or British accent here coming around. But we do have that London game. But I stay away from the London games in general.
Next week we have another one.
All right. Well, we'll get it ready for then. I'll start working on it. But in general, I feel like London games are so wacky all the time. Just things don't pan out. I just feel like it's a weird game that never, goes as expected. So from a bettor's perspective, I think it's safe to kind of like stay away from it unless, you just want to have some fun with it. But what are your thoughts on the London game this week? We got Sam Darnold revenge game against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers and company looking a little out of sorts against the Denver Broncos. That was a brutal loss. So
my thing is, I just don't want to touch. Yeah, I don't want to touch any Jets game betting wise. I just can't trust what they're going to do offensively, defensively. They're stout, or at least sometimes.
Yeah.
So like Jets games right now are just kind of off limits for me. I'm not going there.
Well, one game that is not off limits to us is going to be the Green Bay Packers as they take on the Los Angeles Rams. And that is our first pick. Our first 3 picks are going to be from the LineStar PropsAI tool. And then Tyler and I will give our best picks of the week on Underdog. So let's start things off with Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs, higher than 65.5 rush yards. LineStar's projection here is 75, so some pretty good edge here. Now, Jacobs is averaging 82 rushing yards per game. He's been over in 2 of 4. What we like here is the matchup for Jacobs. All 4 RB1s have gone over that 65.5 mark against the Rams. The Rams are giving up 131 rushing yards per game to running backs. That is 32nd dead last. DeAndre Swift just had 93, and he was basically non-existent prior to that game in the stat column. Jordan Mason had 77. James Conner for the Cardinals had 122. And of course, you may remember that first game of the season against the Lions, David Montgomery just powered through that Rams defense for 91 rushing yards. And I like this spot for Jacobs. He's elusive, and he's just a tough, hard-nosed runner that can get there for us. And so I have full confidence in Jacobs to get it done for us. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's averaging 4.5 yards per carry. The Rams are allowing almost 5 per carry. So I love the spot, and I think they're going to lean on Jacobs a lot. There is going to be no Christian Watson in this game. So I wouldn't be that surprised if there was a little more emphasis on the run in this game, especially because the Rams are just weak there.
Yeah, and Jordan Love didn't look super sound, I guess. Well, in the first half
not until
of that
the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. He started getting going in the second half, but something to definitely keep an eye on, especially with Christian Watson now out of the game. And that one, could they lean on the run game, especially given the fact that the Rams have been weak against it? That's definitely something that could play out. All right, so from one Alabama running back to another, makes me kind of cringe a little bit, being a Georgia Bulldog fan that I am. But nonetheless, we got to go where the numbers tell us, and that is to another former Alabama Crimson Tide member, and that is Najee Harris for the Pittsburgh Steelers, over 64.5 rushing yards. Now, Najee has been higher than that 64.5 number in 3 of 4 games, averaging under that, though, 57 rush yards per game, going up against a Dallas rush defense that's been abysmal this season. They ranked 21st in rush yards allowed to running backs. Now you've got the added, I guess, component of them being pretty banged up. They're without their best player, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence on IR, and Micah Parsons. The linebacker did not practice today, ankle injury. And then going up against Dallas, who is already 32nd in rush defense DVOA, 2 of 4 RB1s have gone over. Derrick Henry, 151 in week 3. Alvin Kamara, 115 in week 2. I know he's coming off a bad week stat-wise. In fact, we took him last week, but he failed miserably, but we're going to take him again. I don't care that he flipped off Colts fans, and Colts linebacker Zaire Franklin basically said, that kid is soft. I think those are some fighting words. I think Harris is going to come back stronger than ever this week. Tyler, what's your assessment of this line for Harris?
Yeah, I mean, Dallas is 22nd in yards per carry, allowing 4.6 yards per carry. The big number for me, though, is Dallas is 27th in yards before contact. Najee Harris only has 2 broken tackles on the year. He's pretty much just been getting what has been given to him. And this is a spot where he's going to get a little bit more than what's been given to him. Like, the fact they're 27th, they're allowing like 2 yards before contact. He's going to get a little bit of momentum going before he hits anybody. And that's just good news for a 64.5 rush line, which he's been over in 3 of 4 already. So I like the spot. And you add in, there's possibly no help for him at the running back position. So he should be able to get plenty of touches.
That's right. Jalen Warren and Cordarrelle Patterson did not practice. They keep things close to the vest, so everything is listed as unknown in terms of that injury report. But what we do know is that Najee Harris might get a bulk of carries this weekend. In fact, the movement on the line basically indicates to me that people don't think those guys are going to be going this week, because it's opened at, I think, around 57.5 rush yards for Harris, and then it has since moved to 64.5, which we still like the over, but that basically is telling me that those guys aren't playing this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I doubt they are. I mean, the Thursday report just came out. Both of them were DNPs, so I would be shocked if they played.
All right, so finally, let's move off some Alabama players to a former Maryland Terrapin. We're talking about Stefon Diggs in a revenge game situation. So we're going over on his receiving yards at 55.5. LineStar's projection is right around there, but this is a big revenge spot for Diggs. You know he wants to go up against the former team and show them what they're missing. Buffalo has allowed the fewest receiving yards to wide receivers, but there are some things that could play to Diggs' favor. First of all, Joe Mixon, their running back, is a DNP, did not practice, dealing with an ankle injury. Also, backup running back is questionable. They've also got Tank Dell, wide receiver, is questionable. He was out last game with a chest injury. He was back at practice, but could be somewhat limited. Given all that, I still like Diggs in this situation where I feel like CJ Stroud knows what he's got something to prove in this game, and he's already kind of spoken up in his defense to the media. I think he could toss him an extra couple targets given the fact that this is his former team. What do you think?
I think CJ Stroud definitely is going to look there a little bit extra this week. One of the things that I thought was interesting, so Stefon Diggs has a 6.9 ADOT, but last week it jumped up to 13.3. So there could be a situation where his role is changing a little bit on this team. Maybe it was just because Tank Dell was out. Or maybe it is a little bit of shift of how they want to use them going forward. And I think that, longer ADOT is only going to help him get over in this spot. He's been targeted at minimum 6 times in a game, with the high being like 12. I think he's in line for another 8 to 10 kind of target week, and 55.5 with that kind of target share should be good to go.
Got to go up against the X and, look your best always. So Diggs over 55.5 receiving yards there. Those are our 3 from the LineStar PropsAI tool. Remember to check that out at LineStarApp.com. So when we talk about projections and everything like that, that's what the tool that we're using is that LineStar app. All right, now it is time for Tyler and I to give our best picks for Underdog Week 5. What you got, Tyler?
People are going to be a little scared of this one, but I am going with Courtland Sutton over 46.5 receiving yards. Our LineStar projections 52. The consensus is 61. He's averaging 9 targets per game. He's averaging 48 yards per game. He has 49% of the air yard share for his team, 32.6 first read share. He's in a great matchup. Las Vegas is 26th in our team defense tool versus the WR1. They allowed Zay Flowers 7 for 91, Deontay Johnson 8 for 122. Cooper Kupp had 8 targets, but only 4 for 35 last week. WR1s are just averaging 11 targets a game versus Vegas, and Sutton's getting a huge first read target share, a huge air yard target share. I think it comes down with a couple extra Sunday, and 46.5 is too low. He also, an interesting thing that I saw was Bo Nix last week, 60 yards passing, and Sutton had 60 yards receiving.
I mean, that's all that it took. That's kind of sad.
It's all that matters for this this bet is what is Sutton doing?
Well, the other thing that might matter in this one, Tyler, that I noticed was that were the Raiders. They're really banged up on defense. Max Crosby might not be in this game, and that will have huge ripple effects across the whole defense. And so that could bode well for the Denver Broncos offense in this one. So that's a really important factor in this one as well. So, hey, it's spooky season. We like the scary lines. Bring them on, all right? Next up, I'm going to one of the most explosive pass catchers in the game, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf, higher than 63.5 receiving yards. LineStar's projection is 72. He's been over 100 receiving yards in 3 of 4 this season, and going up against the Giants. Yeah, they've allowed the 10th fewest yards to wide receivers, but over the last 2 weeks, they gave up 98 receiving yards to CeeDee Lamb, 86 to Amari Cooper, and they actually ranked 28th in pass defense DVOA versus wide receiver ones. And that DVOA stat takes into account quality of opponent. So I love DK Metcalf's spot right here. Super fast, physical. In fact, I feel like in the game against the Lions, it was like watching a wrestling match out there with him and all the DBs just going at it. It was great. He's such a physical receiver, and I love his spot this week. I think he's going to be tossing those Giants off him like rag dolls in this one. We're going DK for over 63.5 receiving yards. All right, those are our top 5. Just to recap real quick, we're going Jacobs over 65.5. Harris higher than 64.5 rushing yards. Diggs higher than 55.5 receiving yards. Courtland Sutton over 46.5, and Metcalf higher than 63.5 receiving yards. You can tail us if you'd like on Underdog Fantasy. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and a comment below will enter you into our prop bets contest, whereby if we go 5 for 5, one randomly selected commenter will win $100. But we could also just go 2 for 2 with Tyler and I, my pick for our props, and then one randomly selected commenter will win $50. So you got to be in it to win it. Let us know what your locks are this week. If you disagree with us as well, we'd like to hear from you in the comments. We'd like to keep everyone as informed as possible. Let us know. We're all trying to help each other out to put together a winning entry this week on Underdog. So good luck out there. We'll see you guys next time.